Hello everybody, welcome back to my extremely popular movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Terminator Salvation. Just finished watching it, you know the drill, overall impressions and grade, plot synopsis and character development. If you've not seen the movie and would like to, pass once I give the grade, there will be spoiler alerts, any similar movies or major themes. So watch this one, it's currently hosted for free on YouTube, all about those freebies. Slim pickings on Hulu right now and Tubi. I heard Rilo Rodriguez saying there's no good movies on Tubi. That's not true. All free movies are good movies, but there's some good ones on there. I think this is some of the just older movies. But I watched this one for free on YouTube, and yeah. So let's get into it. And this one was released in 2009. It is an action/science fiction movie. It has a runtime of an hour and 55 minutes. It is the fourth installment of the Terminator series. It says, although Judgment Day has in fact occurred, the future for which John Connor, played by Christian Bale, was prepared has been partly altered by the appearance of a stranger named Marcus Wright, played by Sam Worthington. Connor must determine if Wright has been rescued from the past or sent from the future. As the machines prepare for a final battle, Connor and Wright delve deep into Skynet's heart, uncovering a secret that could lead to the annihilation of mankind. $200 million budget, $371.4 million at the box office, directed by MCG. 80% liked it on Google, 33% liked it on Rotten Tomatoes, and 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. What did I think? Not much Arnold Schwarzenegger in this one. I don't think he's in it at all. Like there's some, it looks just completely like animation to me. I don't think he's in it at all. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is a pretty staple for the Terminator franchise, in my opinion. Same kind of storyline. It's all right. Probably definitely the weakest one out of the first three. You know, the first two I thought were really good. Third one was all right. This one I'm going to give a C+. The plot's all right, but it's very similar, and so it's just I thought it could have even been lower. I thought there was gonna be like once the Judgment Day occurs, there's gonna be a ton of robots everywhere, and there's a good amount of robots. But I thought they did a good job of not overblowing it to just being just total CGI of just, you know, large scale animation fighting. And so I thought it was decent on that. The plot did move along a little bit. Nothing really novel in terms of, you know, in relation to the other movies. I had not seen this one, so I've not seen, there's a fifth and sixth one as well, which I have not seen. But so far this was definitely the weakest of the series. But with the back weighting of just the other movies, I'll give it a C+. I was still kind of entertained, but no Arnold, no real novelty to the plot. Did move along all right, and thought the characterizations were pretty okay. Nothing super great in the writing either. So overall, just C+. Could have been in the entertaining range, but C+. So if you've not seen it and would like to based on that, you're going to shut off the video. There will be spoiler alerts. Movie opens up. You meet Marcus Wright. I think it's in 2003, and he is basically signing consent form. Some lady has cancer, and it's like, you know, you can do a good thing. You get some inclination that he's killed 2 or 3 people, and he basically signs over the right to dismember him, saying basically, you know, I've been a bad person, I deserve punishment. Which that would be a major theme, a human being actually taking responsibility for their actions, which that will never occur. But regardless, he does that, and then he cuts him up, and then you get a flash forward to 2018. And so, you know, the movie was made in 2009, and so it's slightly set in the future, current to 2009. But you meet John Connor. He is, again, the John Connor and Kate Connor from 3 to 4 are different, cast by different, or played by different people. And so, in Christian Bale's obviously widely known, recognize the lady who played Kate Connor. But regardless, he's flying into this mission where they have to go into this big hole to try to recover some files or recover something. And so they kind of descend into this just big pit kind of in the middle of the desert. And they get some information, you kind of see some stuff, and then he gets whatever's off of the thing, and he goes back to the top side, which is again, the pit's, I don't know, 100 feet deep. I mean, it's a big pit. And so he gets to the very top. He sees that something's gone on, the people that are supposed to be looking to watch are dead, and then there's a big explosion in the pit, and he has to fight off a Terminator that's kind of getting like severed in half, and just kind of shoots it in the head, or, you know, takes a chip out of the back of its neck. And so He's able to fight off the Terminators there. Gina's just like one, but the rest of his crew members are dead. So he calls for helicopter support. He gets picked up and it's getting taken back. He wants to go to the command center, which is on a submarine. The helicopter flies over the ocean, and he's like, permission, like, I'm the leader of the resistance, let me into the command center, and they deny his request. So he literally just jumps off the helicopter, like, knowing that, they're right over the submarine, and they're gonna have to take him out, or pick him up if he jumps in regardless. So he does that, he gets on board without the permission of the general, who is General Ash something. Couldn't see the character name on the list, so we'll just call him General Ash. But he's upset with John, basically saying, some stunt you pulled. But basically in 4 days, they're going to launch this big counteroffensive. They have found, there's like these Terminator swimming things, and they found one of these things, and they were able to calm it down or control it even if they have this given frequency to generate this frequency, and they can control this swimming things, or this things controlled by Skynet. And so, regardless, they get the thing that it's going to be about 4 days, and so on the list he says General Ash is like, you're second on the list, and John's like, who's the first? And he's like, some civilian named Kyle Reese. And so John knows that Kyle Reese is his father. So some of the timeline of going into the future, where it's again like the first ones where it's just like one Terminator sent back from the future. It's like, okay, and now it's just a lot of timeline jumping, and time travel is obviously physically and exponentially inconsistent. So it's like I can't imagine time travel at all. It doesn't exist. But regardless, that's what happens. And so then you meet Kyle Reese, Marcus Wright. Now he's just kind of like woken up out of since he's been out since 2003 or something. And so he's just kind of trying to figure out who this Marcus Wright character is. And so he runs over, he sees this big Terminator thing, he calls for its attention, and this little kid comes out and saves him from a bunch of minigun fire. And they go into this, they're in Los Angeles, but it's completely rubble, it's completely destroyed. So again, the setting's post-apocalyptic. And they basically lure the Terminator thing right up next to the where they're at, and they drop a big metal thing. They have a little, Kyle Reese has a little friend or help in the resistance. It's just two of them, stars, a young girl. And so they're able to smash the big Terminator with just a big metal rig of some sort and have some sort of safety for a second. Then another one flies over and they have to duck. And so now they're basically we just have to get out of here. And so they hotwire a car, they start driving, a couple tracker things, a couple of Terminators have like automated motorcycles, and as well as this flying things to track them. It's not sure if those ones are actually lethal. I think the motorcycle ones are. I'm not sure about the little discs that fly around. Regardless, they knock a couple of those back as they're driving away, and then they go meet this older lady or somebody else that has shown a resistance sign. And they go in there and they get guns pulled on them. The writing's kind of cheesy there. When Marcus first meets Kyle, Kyle points a gun at him. Marcus takes the shotgun off of him. And very similar scenes to the previous 3 movies as well. But Marcus says, if you're going to point a gun at somebody, you better be ready to shoot them. And so Kyle uses that exact same line 4 scenes later when they're at this new place. They get, it's like a gas station been converted into a headquarters. And so one of the minor characters doesn't want to give him any fuel or supplies because it's post-apocalyptic, everyone for themselves, which is kind of like America today. Fuck you, where's mine? But regardless, they, right as they're talking, in the midst of talking, the old lady who kind of runs the place is give the little girl some food. And so as they're kind of going back and forth or whatever, just this big monster Terminator hands come in and pick up these people, and they're dumping them in a human captive thing to basically take them back to Skynet to perform experiments or whatever on. And so another big action sequence. A lot of people scrambling. This little gas station thing, I don't know, has 30 people, 20 people, whatever. And so these big Terminators just, incinerating them. They drive off in this car, that one blows up. This guy runs over here, he gets turned into meat soup on the ground. And so they're we can't exactly get out of here directly or easily. And so they kind of back a big fuel truck up into it, and shoot at it to try to catch it on fire and destroy the Terminator. They do so. They're all happy. John, or Marcus, Kyle, and Star in the car. And after the big explosion, a second of relief, and then the Terminator emerges pretty much unscathed and follows them. So now they're in a car chase. They're trying to get away. Again, another very similar scene of them driving a really big, just a big truck of some sort with this modified headpiece to to move away other things, like a wedge. And they drive onto this big bridge, and one of these flying things come over and scoops up both Kyle Reese and Star and puts them into the human container. And Marcus is thrown from the vehicle. It's about to get shot, and he jumps, the 100 feet off of a bridge into the water, skips off the water like nothing. Which at first I thought that wasn't going to make sense, but then it turns out to be modified, so doesn't really matter. It is at least consistent with the characterization. And so he's in the water, kind of stuck, and there's a fighter jet from the Resistance that shoots down one of these things, or shoots at these things, and so it kind of crashes. And so you meet another major character, Blair Williams, rather attractive lady. Didn't recognize the actress. But she is like stuck in a parachute, but it's like 5 feet off the ground. So she cuts herself loose. Marcus catches her arm, and she's like, "You can let me go now," because she's 5 feet off the ground. So regardless, they kind of shack up for the night, not sexually, but just like get some shelter. Some dudes start harassing Blair. Marcus stands up for Blair. They get in a little fight, a little scuffle. Nothing too serious. And then Blair and Marcus kind of snuggle a little bit. And Blair is like, "Your heart, is such a strong beat. And you're such a good person." Marcus is like, "I'm not a good person," knowing his past. And so regardless, the next day shows up, and they're trying to get in contact. Blair's like, "If you want to talk to someone who wants to fight the machines, John Connor's your guy." And so Marcus writes like, "Let's go there." So Blair and Marcus head towards the headquarters where John is at. And as they're walking, there's a minefield, and one of the mines like sticks to Marcus's leg for a second and then explodes. And so he's wounded from a landmine, and they take him in. They rush him in, and John's like, "Come look at this." And so from the landmine, you can see that Marcus Wright's body is heavily modified, where it's like he's a human heart, but then this metal exoskeleton, just like the cyborgs or cyberkinetic organisms or whatever they call them in the movie. But so John Connor's like, "This guy's clearly here to kill us, or kill us all. The only reason he didn't kill you and Kyle before is to get to all of us." And so they have him chained up, and basically Blair has some affinity or affection for Marcus, and she tells Barnes, who is another major character that is kind of like the military dude, tells him that John Connor's asked to see him, and Barnes has shot Marcus, and doesn't really do anything to him unless he hit him directly in the heart, I guess. And then to show her allegiance, Blair shoots Marcus in the chest as well. Then once Barnes leaves where this kind of like tunnel, or not tunnel, but just like this column area where they're keeping him, she like lowers the column, swings down, and frees him. And so Barnes shoots a rocket launcher at him after they quickly realize that she's trying to help him escape. And so another big action sequence of the Resistance people trying to shoot down both Blair and Marcus, mainly just to get rid of Marcus, and it's war, so Blair's a casualty. But they scurry around, they get out of this vent, they're back in the minefield, and Marcus is able to get away for a little bit into this like water area, and Blair gets captured, and then John is the first one to meet up, like get face to face with Marcus, and Marcus is like, I really identify as a man, not a Terminator, but in this scene, he's able to convince John that he's actually, doing the right thing or helping him. And so John kind of like lets him swim away, and then John quickly releases Blair, because Blair's just like, I saw a man and I wanted to free him. And so John sympathizes with that and lets him go. And so now the plan is that Marcus has told John that Kyle Reese is being held at this Cybernet headquarters, and General Ash is planning this attack. A couple days have passed, so in the next day or two. And so John really calls off the forces, saying, don't attack until we rescue the human civilians, because if we don't, then we're just as bad as the machines. So again, kind of a trite commentary on the human condition as well. I just like science fiction movies. But regardless, General Ash is not for it. He's like, it's cost of war, but all of the rebellion is loyal to John, so they stand down when they're supposed to attack. John and Marcus is in the head of Cyberdyne or wherever it's Cybernet or Cyberdyne, whatever it's called, and he gets more interaction with the Skynet, and it's just like, you are a Terminator. You're the first one to be able to effectively infiltrate into the human condition, and you're going to kill the humans just like we programmed you to. And so he basically rips the chip out of the back of his neck, and basically decides to be a man and just tied with humanity. It's also very similar to Terminator 2 and Terminator 3. When I guess Terminator 2, they just send back Arnold to be Protector, but in Terminator 3, you have the scenes where he's banging the car, and you're going back and forth of whether to be a human or to be a Terminator. So it wasn't really novel in any sense, but decent for an action sci-fi movie. But now Marcus is going to go help try to save John. John is trying to save Kyle. He finds Kyle Reese and Star, and then more action scenes, Terminators around the place, shooting stuff up. Then Marcus gets in a fight with one of them, and the Terminator calculates if he just punches his heart, he'll die. So he punches his heart real hard and he dies, or at least codes out for a bit. John and Kyle have seen this area, and Star as well, have seen this area where they're building the T-900s or whatever, the new model. And their power cores are nuclear or whatever, so he rigs them up to explode. Another fight scene with the Terminator. John is able to revive Marcus by just hitting his chest again as well. So turns Marcus back on, and then Marcus is able to fight off the Terminator, and then they're able to get into the extraction vehicle, the helicopter, and they blow up the nuclear things, which they definitely pulled the trigger way too early on that one. The helicopter would have been incinerated on detonation as well, but it's just a movie. Regardless, they fly away, and there's a big explosion in the background. And so they go back, and the final kind of resolution scenes are them in the desert, and it's like John's heart, he's alive, but his heart's not going to make it. And so Marcus, the resolution of the character development for Marcus is Blair still kind of likes him, they kiss goodbye, but Marcus is like, take my heart instead. It's like, I was a murderer, let John deserve a second chance. And so that is the resolution. I guess General Ash did get gets blown up. So when Marcus is talking or interfacing with Skynet, it's like, you let us write to them, and they think that the frequency that they had wasn't actually doing it. We were just playing dumb to see where they're at and find them. And so they destroy General Ash in the headquarters for the Resistance. But then the resolution of the movie, again, is them blowing up the center of Skynet. But then Marcus giving John his heart, and then some outro narration saying, we destroyed the main headquarters, but it's global, so we got to continue the fight. So I thought, again, the difference between 3 and 4 in terms of just like where the plot could go, going from trying to stop Judgment Day to it happening, and now it's just kind of like the same thing. So I thought that even though this one was, rated lower than Terminator 3, I just thought like where the plot could have gone at the resolution of the end. And so if one of the 5 or 6 pops up, I'll watch 5 first. But if it pops up on one of these free things, then I'll watch it. But I'm probably not going to do just whatever free movies I can find is what I'm reviewing. So thank you for watching. Again, similar movies, all the other Terminator movies, and any science fiction, I don't know. So again, the major themes of the movie is just some condition being the human hearts. You can't define a human. It's got the heart. It's just a species. I don't know. But for a movie, it could have been entertaining, but just in comparison to the other Terminators, didn't really do much for me. So thank you for watching my review of Terminator Salvation, and I'll see you on the next one.